the Johnny Fongo Show. I'm Johnny Fongo. It is July 17th, 2021. Got a little new addition to our podcast. It's going to be called Conversations with Friends. And today, my friend joining me is my dear friend and brother, Matt. I love to call him Stick without a K, Girres. We're gonna talk cannabis today, man.
Let's talk cannabis today.
That's all we're gonna do. Brother, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm alive and doing good, man. No complaints, man.
Very good.
No complaints.
Very good. Well, as you know, I do a show about cannabis and cannabis stocks.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Are the cannabis stocks high right now?
They have been. It's an ebb and flow with it. It's an ebb and flow, as with everything. But we still enjoy it. So, first question here for you, man. And what is your first memory of cannabis?
Phew. Well, see, my memory only goes back about 10 minutes.
Well,
I
feel your pain.
It's called age. My first memory of, I think I was 15 the first time I tried it. And God, that's a long time ago. I can't even remember who I smoked it with, to be honest. I just remember 15 was that year where I became a man, we'll say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on that year.
Sure.
It was my last good year, I think, now.
A lot of interesting changes.
Been downhill since then, but...
Yeah.
But I can't really remember the first experience with it, per se. I remember kind of doing just, everyone, it's sad to say, but everyone was doing it, so that I just kind of followed suit with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of fit in, find my place in life wherever I was going to be.
Yeah.
So it was definitely not what it's been in my elder years of life.
Yeah.
It's more of a trying to fit in and I guess be a crazy kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was I remember riding a lot of backseat country cruises around here.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of Eagles playing, a lot of Led Zeppelin playing back in the day.
Yeah.
Beat up car, about 10 of your friends crammed into a tiny little car with, 2 or 3 joints and driving 30 miles an hour.
Explore back roads.
Exactly. And I never get lost anymore, usually.
Yeah.
Not always.
You've been down every one of those roads.
Yeah, a few times, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about the same with me. I was about 15, 16. And, of course, back then, the weed was...
not what it is today.
Not what it is today. Yeah. A lot of it was homegrown that we had around here, or, brick mechs.
Yeah, just kind of the old brown brick
mech stuff. Man. Yeah. A lot of seeds, a lot of stems.
I remember it being, if you were lucky, you could get an eighth for $20.
Yeah.
Quarter for 40.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't Mexican brick, it was almost all the time it was brick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're crunching up the seeds and stem, anything that was in that brick you crushed up.
Yeah.
And once a year, there's always some really good stuff coming from down south that I would clamor to try to find. You know what I mean? And then when that was gone, usually around Christmas, then it was back to the brick.
Yeah.
And and you were happy though. I mean, if you found an 8 for $25, it was going to be something decent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I remember a $50 quarter going, there's no way.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That lasted a long time.
Now that's what you'd pay for an eighth.
Yeah, exactly. But nowadays, there's so many more medicinal purposes for it, and the weed, it's what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, we had no clue what was in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, like veneer right now. It's got a layer of good stuff and a bunch of sawdust in the middle, and so it's nice to know that you're getting. And you nowadays you can research the effects that you're going to have too.
Yeah.
Is it going to put me to sleep? Is it good for backaches, depression, anxiety? Upset stomach. What's it good for? And and now you've got more of an idea of what you're getting, which is definitely a lot safer than.
And once you find something that does work for what you need it for,
right?
Then you can always find it.
Yeah,
it's they're usually out there, and you can source that strain easily.
It's really. I mean, anymore it's no different than you're going to the store and what do I need? I got a headache, so what medicine's going to work best for me?
Right. Yeah. Do I want ibuprofen? Do I want aspirin? Do I want Tylenol?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Flintstone chewables.
And I think the challenge, from what I've seen and heard, in my research, going forward, is, all these strains just being, what's the word I'm looking for? Uniform.
Yeah.
You know, because from grower to grower, they can vary somewhat, I believe.
Right.
You know, being in, you know, I'm an old grower.
Right.
You know, just conditions change.
Right.
You know, things like that. So trying to get that uniformity, I think, for the companies is the biggest challenge moving forward.
Yeah.
Because, you know, eventually we're looking at legalization. You know, did you hear they came out this week with the Schumer rolled out a bill.
Really?
And it's a pretty comprehensive bill. It's,
Really?
from what I've seen and heard of it, I haven't looked at it, but it's pretty comprehensive. It has expungements, which I think is huge.
That would be nice.
You know,
Like having people in prison with, you know, right next to murderers for a bag of weed is just ridiculous. Like you're not solving problems at that point. You're creating more.
It doesn't really do anything to deal with the banking, but what it does do is take it off Schedule 1. I think it actually deschedules it, which mainly means there's no issue with banking anymore.
If it's off of Schedule 1?
If it's off Schedule 1, these banks don't have an issue.
And
if it's not federally prohibited, there's the other hurdle that these banks have dealt with for years.
And just getting it off of a Schedule 1 controlled substance would be nice. Because looking at it, when you're reading the list of Scheduled 1 controlled substances, it was like marijuana, heroin, LSD. And I can say from experience that it is not anywhere near what heroin is. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah. That it's that high on the chart. Like it blows my mind that you know what I mean. Like you have something that's actually could be good now that we're educated with it. Like back when I was young, people weren't educated. It was addictive and it was this and that and you know reefer madness. Right. You know, from the 30s. Yeah. And there's more benefits to it than there are downsides to it, without a doubt. Yeah. And you don't have to smoke it. You can drink it in tea. You can eat it. You know what I mean? There's so many ways. Like
the delivery systems are. You know, you choose. How do you want to do it? Patch.
Exactly.
You know, I'm a huge fan of the patch.
I never tried a patch.
Really?
No.
Yeah. Well worth the $10.
$10.
All day long.
Oh wow.
Just a constant, nice relaxation.
Right.
You're not blasted. You're not, drooling. You can do stuff.
Function.
But like I prefer the indica patch. I've done both indica and sativa.
Right.
The indica patch for me just takes away any aches and pains, any just stiff muscles. Yeah. Boom. Feel really nice.
And what's the alternative to that? If the aches and pains you get through a day, I mean, you can't have weed because that's bad for you. Yeah. But go ahead and have all these opiates. Yeah. It's great for you. Anxiety. Let's get some benzos in there too to make sure and get you hooked on something else. Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the sense of, calm. Yeah. That it's just, okay.
Unfortunately, I've had to recently shelve my cannabis. Yeah.
And that happens from time to time.
You've got to be responsible with it. But to look at it, it's not, well, maybe it was a little harder for me to quit. You know what I mean? Like, because to me, it was a sleep aid and an anxiety. Sure. So I didn't need to smoke all day long. Right before I'd go to bed, I'd take a few rips and I could sleep, or if I was having a hard time eating or a stomach ache. So I used it a lot more as a medicine these last couple of years, but I could feel the anxiety at times. You know what I mean? Like I don't have that. I'm used to using that that was my relaxer at the end of the day. I'm trying to find something else, but it's just I was so used to that. It was a bit of an adjustment trying to. I got to deal with a little anxiety. If I'm getting a little stressed out at work or something. Okay, well, got to count to 10. Oh boy, not the same effect.
I can only count to 4 on a musician.
Exactly. I count to 6 on a good day. But it's just it's really sad how it's criminalized, and I mean, thank God the public is kind of awakening and it's being accepted. People are more open-minded to it now. Yeah. It's medicinal purposes, and I'm glad that the way it was viewed when I was 15 versus now that I'm 23.
Yeah, you don't look a day over 21, honestly.
Yeah, thank God. No, I don't act it either. But to see how it's been viewed here in my 40s, it's nice to see it being more acceptable. You know what I mean? Like, growing up, beer was you could always drink beer. You're fine. Steal your dad's beer. That's fine. Oh, he's just drinking beer.
Yeah. Well, and we're just talking about the states in general, but I mean, you think globally of the attitude about cannabis, it's changed exponentially. Yeah. I mean, my show's been listened in 30 countries.
Oh, wow.
Some countries are not, real nice.
No. What countries where are you in?
Oh, gosh. Well,
I have tax on that map?
I'm in a, yeah.
Oh, I can't see them from back there. Well, I'll be damned. Oh, there they are. Oh, wow.
So, I mean, Morocco, Cameroon, Malta, big in India. Huge, I mean,
Thank you, come again.
Thailand, Australia, all through Germany, Spain, England, Iceland. I got a listener in Iceland.
Any listeners in Iran? No, I didn't.
Not yet. I've been Oman, which is in the Middle East there.
So I think what they need is like a big bale to just be dropped, and everyone just needs to smoke and chill out. But I guess
trying to get into Russia, but the Iron Curtain can't. And I tell you what,
having a hard time getting over that Great Wall of China.
yeah, China. They're not wanting to listen to me either. But that's the beautiful thing, and that's what I talk about on my podcast quite often, because a lot of the stories I cover are Israeli companies,
Right.
are German companies, are English companies, Canadian. Mexico is going to be a huge player. They are on the verge of having it done.
Really, Mexico is?
Oh yeah, they're gonna be legalized.
They've got the cartels.
And all through Southern America. I mean, it's the best place to grow it, quite honestly.
Yeah. It was anything just south of the equator, right?
Yeah.
So you get countries in Africa. Well, I mean, that'd be a little
Yeah.
too far to go for it, but yeah.
But I mean, there's the fun side of it, the THC side, which I've always, sought out.
Right. But you do it for the taste. You don't do it for the taste, right?
Well, that's a secondary benefit.
So if we don't drink for the buzz, I drink for the taste.
Right.
Okay.
But you got the hemp plant, and if you've ever done any research on the hemp plant, it's a very useful plant. I mean, it can basically take the place of plastics.
Clothing. Didn't they use it in
food?
Use it in food, huh?
The seeds, yeah, they're high in omega fatty acids, I believe, something like that.
Wow. So I could quit buying the $18 bottles of omega-3s.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of uses for it, and because it's been prohibited for 1939 to 70 plus years,
Jesus.
there's no research been done on it, or very little, and nothing that can back things up. No, until now, clinical trials, they're starting to do some of that. So it's slow to change on that end, but
You say propaganda? 70 years.
yeah. Well, I think we might have already covered this next question, but how does cannabis help you?
How does it help me? Holy crud. It always hasn't helped me. It'd be the easier one.
Yeah.
So, first off, I've had a lot of back issues
Uh-huh.
that it helped me. Back in, this is in the early 2000s, I guess. And you go to the doctor and it was the same recipe every time. 50 Vicodin, 50 Flexerals, and 50 Motrin 800s.
Yeah.
We threw away the Motrins, indulged in the Vicodins and the Flexerals to get sleep at night, and that gave you a high that you probably didn't need. Like your pain was kind of just masked the pain, which I'm sure everything does that. But it gave you this little high that came with it. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, I know.
In the long run, we'll get to it in a minute. But that led me to a whole. Definitely not the best times of my life. But that's kind of where that started for me. So before we get into that, it's really helped me with a lot of the physical pain that I've suffered. I've done martial arts for almost 30 years now. So, a lot of bumps and bruises that would help me with.
Yeah.
Anytime I've had any type of stomach issue like the flu, it's settled my stomach, sleep issues, anxiety. And it was most recently in dominant, it helped. I've had an addiction to heroin for a little while, and coming off of that was not pleasant, we'll say.
Oh,
It's pretty rough. But, when I came home from a detox, and if I didn't have cannabis at that time, I probably could have had a different ending to this story too. It keeps you calm. It's not a magic drug. You still deal with physical cravings for the opiates.
Yeah.
But you have something there that just takes the edge off and kind of settles you down, and it brings the anxiety that you get. I could sleep. I had a lot of sleep issues when I came down off everything. I couldn't. You're not talking 2 or 3. You're talking zero sleep, laying in bed watching TV the whole night. You can't sleep. I went through a lot of depression.
Yeah.
Coming off of that stuff. So it definitely helped give me something to kind of perk me up a little bit mentally, so I'm sitting there crying over car commercials or whatever. That was weird.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely served its purpose in my recovery.
Yeah.
And I've always said, like, I'm sure there's people out there that'll say, oh, well, you're still doing drugs, so you're not recovering addict. Now, listen, I'm going to say this once and for all, okay? It doesn't matter how we get there. Everyone's path is different to recovery. I don't want to be, in time, when the time's right, as I progress through this whole recovery process, I'll get to a point where I don't need anything. And I'm kind of at that point now. Like, the last thing I got to give up are these damn cigarettes. Mm. You know what I mean? So I've got a month and a half, 2 months without cannabis now.
Yeah.
I quit for a job, but yeah, I can't stand people. I'm going through recovery is a hard enough thing to deal with. But then you've got people that have made it trying to tell you what their way is, that their way is the only way, and that's not true.
Right.
There's some people that can quit all their drugs and all their bad habits cold turkey, and it works for them, and that's great. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not one of them.
Right.
I don't want to be criticized for, I'm not doing heroin. I'm not doing pain pills. If I'm not smoking, I'm going to take criticism of it. It's ridiculous, what I mean? So that's, I don't like people kind of getting off subject here a little bit. So, yeah, it definitely helped my recovery. I mean, I can't, I would recommend it to people if you're going through, if you're coming off alcohol or meth, or if you're coming off hard drugs. In my opinion only, I'm sure there's some people out there that may agree, but marijuana makes that so much easier to get through. And it's a lot easier to quit smoking marijuana than it is to quit doing heroin or alcohol or whatever your drug is. Yeah. It is a little mentally addictive. Like I missed it. I cried. I had pictures of it I sleep with sometimes. It wasn't that bad. But it definitely helps, man.
Yeah. So. Well, this kind of leads into my next question. What other substances have you used recreationally?
Okay, so we're going to word it this way. I haven't done PCP.
Oh, really?
That's the only one I've never done. Everything else...
Got you beat there, bro.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Horse tranquilizers?
Fuck yeah, baby.
Jesus. I never ran into it. I'm sure if I found it back in the day...
I was exposed to it for a brief time back in my... God, how old was I? Probably... 20s.
Really?
Early 20s, like 20, 21.
So, if it's a horse tranquilizer, okay, I'm thinking it's going to knock you out, but I've read reports of people, like, literally snapping handcuffs when they're high on, or was it the different drug?
I didn't get that off of it, but one of the first times I did it was with one of my best friends, and we were kind of hanging out at this lake house down south of Rochester. And we were just out there playing Frisbee. And, it was kind of a euphoric feeling. Yep. And it's like, he'd toss me the Frisbee and I'd see it coming at me, and it's just like...
Better move.
No, it'd be like, it'd go right past me and then I'd reach up for it. Or I'd reach up for it and it'd be like, 2 feet away from me.
Yeah.
Spatial representation was pretty erratic.
Right.
And then, again, I remember I only really did it 3 times in my life.
Right.
It's not like I was like,
Right.
I'm hitting that every weekend.
You weren't sitting on a street corner begging people for change. Yeah.
Things would be a lot different for me, too, if that was the route.
Wouldn't be called the Johnny Fongo Show now.
Yeah, wouldn't be able to spell that. The second time I did it, I was running sound for a band in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And this same friend came down with his girlfriend, and after on the first break, we were back in the little band room there that they had, and just maybe a inch line, inch long line, and took a little bump.
Was it a fat line or just like a short fat line, or was it?
It was maybe 1/8 of an inch wide.
So you're talking about a little below medium line.
Yeah. And pretty much instantaneous response.
Really?
Just, feeling of euphoria. And, of course, I was running sound. And he was helping me out on lights.
I bet you're hearing.
So you can imagine, kind of what kind of show went on. I didn't get fired from the band, so it must have been okay. But the big thing I remember is walking out of that break room and walking across the dance floor back to my sound booth where everything was at. And, every step, I was elevating higher and higher. I was just like, it was really awesome. I made it back to the sound booth and don't remember much the night after that. But yeah.
Was it? How did you feel like? Did it, I mean, obviously you didn't get addicted to it.
Oh no.
But could you see the addictive tendencies to it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that sounds.
I mean, I did it probably in the worst atmosphere where I was actually,
right, working in a bar with people.
Right.
People depending on you to.
So there kind of gauges my early responsibility level at that age.
Well, if you couldn't catch the frisbee, you probably missed the leads then on the boost. I'm assuming.
No, I think I was into that. I was all over that.
Slid into the zone
Yeah.
there. Huh?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've done. That's the only drug I haven't done. I don't know if I've done like the. I remember taking. I think I took ecstasy after a gig once in Elkhart. I don't think I've done Molly.
See, I've never done ecstasy, never done Molly.
We were see now. I can't. I don't know if I can really count that experience because it was actually my brother had gotten married earlier that day.
Right.
And we're a family of Catholic farmers, so we had a few beers.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then by the time it was showtime, I was already wasted.
Yeah.
So then we make it to the show, and we're walking out of the bar that night. And some guy was like, "Hey man, I need gas money. I'll sell you a couple ecstasies for $10." And I'm like, for all I know, it could have been ibuprofen. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I remember popping them.
Yeah.
Gave him $10. You kind of in that I don't give a shit mood. And
Yeah.
riding home, I can remember looking up because I had a buddy, Eric Reed. God, I love you, Eric. I'm still alive because of you. To drive me, I pay him to drive me home from all these gigs when I was younger. And I can remember opening my eyes and the street lights. I thought they were all connected because there was some traces. So I don't know if that was all the weed I'd smoked that day, all the alcohol I'd drunk, or if it was a combination, or if it was the ecstasy.
Right.
So it's kind of hard for me to classify if I really did ecstasy or not. But
Yeah.
did a lot of acid for a time, and
Yeah,
I haven't
me
touched
too.
that for that one's been gone for years.
What about shrooms?
Shrooms was the last time I ever tripped was on shrooms.
Oh yeah.
I didn't throw up. Like everyone tells me when you eat shrooms, you're gonna throw up. Right?
No, I never have.
And I kind of thought they tasted good. Me
Me
so
too,
I'm just sitting
man.
there popping tops, and I was talking to my wife at the time, my ex-wife at the time, and popping them and just chatting away. And I'm like, oh, how many of these have I ate?
Yeah.
And I can remember it took a little bit longer for it to kick in than what I was used to with just a dose of acid.
Right. Yeah.
And so I can remember leaving to go get a case of beer.
Yeah.
So I ran down to the liquor store, ran into a buddy of mine, and he cracked a joke, and I started laughing, and it was on. I'm like, oh, and I couldn't stop the whole way home. I'm laughing. I walk inside laughing, and I probably laughed the entire night. But then there was something about that it started off great, but the end of it, I think I got in my own head a little bit and started. Yeah. As you get older as an adult, I always started. You're taking on more responsibility as you get older.
Yeah.
What am I going to do if something happens to the kids? What am I going to do if something happens what happens if I have to call the fire department? Okay, none of those things are probably going to happen in the time that I'm tripping, but at the time, it was the end of the world.
It's the web of what is. Yeah.
And I think for me, like, I've always, if I have to be sober, if I was high, I got this. If I was, doing other hard drugs, I could generally bring myself down enough to deal with what I had to deal with. Mm-hmm. When it came to tripping or doing acid or hallucinogens, no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to, why is your face melting?
Yeah.
Stomp my foot and it goes right to the ground. Have ended up good for me. So I like to be in control of my highs, so to speak, which is very ironic that I say that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, let's see. My next question for you is, have you ever enjoyed growing the plant?
Absolutely. There is. I remember the first year that I grew, and I haven't done a whole lot of it. And it's been quite a while since I've grown anything. But when we looked out over our area of all the happy plants we had out there, and to see them go from, was involved in the whole process from the start to finish, where we'd clone them.
Yeah.
And you see it start to take root, and you kind of get excited, and you switch cups, and you put some more stuff in it, and then the plant starts getting taller, and then they're ready to go. So then you stack them on the, in the totes, and you go to your spot.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That I gravely, I was like gravely, I was way off on that one. It was a lot of work. And it's the middle of the summer, so you're out at night with minimum light, probably dressed in black, long sleeves, getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, sweating your nuts off. Oh, it was horrible. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was horrible, but it was. I was like, this is not what I thought. You know what I mean? Where's all the women at?
Yeah,
Didn't happen. But you know what?
that's what I would call the guerrilla style.
Yeah, it was definitely
cannabis
guerrilla.
growing.
It was definitely the guerrilla. I mean, there was an indoor setup at the time. I didn't really help too much of that. I just liked going out and just giving it to nature, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you go out a couple weeks after they've been planted, and you start seeing them getting bigger, and the buds come up, and it's a very cool feeling to know that you watch this, you know, start at the very beginning of the process, and now you get to enjoy you reap the benefits of it. You know what I mean? And it's something that you did. You know, I knew that there was no chemicals in there.
Yeah.
It was all legit. The curing process, okay, well, that's key. We found that out.
Oh yeah. Probably the most important part of the process.
But what blew my mind is how many weed snobs there were out there. You know, you show somebody, it's got water leaves on it. What? Yeah, so you don't want the extra little crystals on the... So we took them off and kept them and made hashish. Or made a...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, hashish would make...
Butter?
We did butter one year.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, sometimes we put it between wax paper and hit it and then just take a chunk off and smoke it.
Gotcha.
That was God, that was a good high. Yeah, the taste was amazing, though, too.
Yeah.
I remember that. But I really enjoyed that aspect of it because it's, you know, my dad was a farmer. Obviously, we farmed different things, corn and marijuana, but illegal and legal. It was a fun experience, though.
Yeah.
It was great, and I really enjoyed the fact that kind of reaping the benefits of your work. You know what I mean? You put the work and the time into it, and then you get the benefit at the end, and knowing that this is something that you created from start to finish. You get to enjoy the taste, and you know what I mean, and it makes it so much easier when you don't have to go buy it anymore. You just have your stash, you know. So I really enjoyed it, and it's, you know, I was younger when we grew it too, but there was just something about the rush. There's a rush to it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, well, definitely.
Nowadays, like if you go to Michigan, you can grow it legally. I don't know if that rush would still be there. I don't think it would be. You know what I mean? But you'd be looking at more of you make a living doing it.
I see exactly what you say, and I think I would have to agree because, you know, in my experience, and I started young.
Mm-hmm.
I started when I was probably 19 or 20, and got caught by my mom.
Really?
I used to run sound. And this guy I used to work with had these like old voting machines, and they were a big aluminum case.
Okay.
But the interesting thing about them is they had a fluorescent light built in to the case. Okay. So me and my enterprising mind,
Ding.
grow chamber, definitely. So that's what I turned it into. You know, I started some seeds, and you know, I had them kind of coming up a little bit in there, and they were discovered by my mom, which
They're tulips.
and I had to kind of get them out of there. And I just kept going, and you know, bought a bunch of books through High Times.
Mm-hmm.
My first metal halide I bought through the back of High Times from Superior Grower Supply up in Michigan.
Really?
And I had a big 48-inch, you know, those old style ones.
Oh, yeah.
Big bolt. Yeah, I had one of those.
Wow.
Had the ballast and everything. And that thing was bright. And eventually, long story short, those seedlings didn't really make it that far, but I did some more when I lived down in Nashville and brought them back. I brought back about 15, 20 plants in the back of a hatchback. So the guys came down to get me. My van had died. I was done with Nashville for the time being.
Right.
I was coming home.
But I gotta get my plants.
But I had all these plants, you know.
So no one knew. You could, who drove? I mean, someone came down and picked you up.
Yeah.
Knowing that you had all this.
Yeah, it was me and two other guys and my plants and my personal belongings, which was maybe
in a hatchback.
Maybe a guitar and some other shit. But
No dog? Oh, you had a dog, didn't you?
No, not at that time.
Okay.
No. But got all these plants back. Didn't end up in jail.
That's good.
And put them into my buddy's closet. They lived out in a farmhouse out east of here. And kind of kept them going, and then got them moved outside, and ended up finally there was an old barn with a milk house.
Yeah.
And had drain, running water, electricity.
Uh-huh.
So that's when I got that light, set that light up in there, dug all these plants up out of the ground, moved them inside, finished them off because they were just starting to bud out at this point.
Jeez.
I mean, they went from Tennessee as seedlings,
yeah,
back up to a closet in Indiana, and then out in a garden area, back in the backyard,
right,
and then dug up again into this milk house grow room and finished off there.
Wow. That's a pretty tough. That's a durable plant.
It is a very durable plant.
That's the funny thing, because when we did it, we were very careful with every. I mean, it was. They had like little blankets they all laid in.
Yeah.
No, I mean not big, but we were definitely. I was treating them as they were fragile.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny now to hear your story. And be like, oh no, we threw them in the back of a hatchback and drove 800 miles in 15 hours and dug them up 3 times. It's like,
yeah.
And I can remember going into that. I was no pun intended. I was very green in the process going into it, and I remember my buddy telling me once. He said, you got to remember, it's a weed. It wants to live. It wants to grow. It's gonna find its water source. Or, I mean, you try to. I mean, like you think about cleaning your driveway off. You know what I mean? You spray poison, gallons of poison, and then still come back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A couple weeks later.
And they're laughing at you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that now.
Yeah. So, but yeah, after that, I kind of took a break and kind of picked it back up when I was back down in Tennessee.
So you went back after that trip?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when we did the Blue Fong thing and did the Saudi tour.
Yeah.
And then years after that, a friend of mine that I kind of did some landscaping with, he had a connection where he was getting White Widow clones from.
I remember the White Widow.
From a grower that was doing the White Widow. And, he got me, a couple clones and, kind of taught me what this guy taught him about cloning, because at that point I had done no cloning.
Right.
I just popped seeds.
Okay.
And started getting into the cloning thing and had my own little setup. I had a little 400 watt high pressure sodium, the horizontal ones instead of the ones that hang down vertically.
That's what we had, I think.
And just started, getting a hydroponic setup going, learning about pH. I had a little pH pen. I mean, for the time, I was pretty high tech just for, and I was doing this in like a 4x13 space.
Jeez.
So I mean, I was, very clandestine, very guerrilla, even in the house.
Yeah.
But I was producing, I get it to where I would harvest about every 2 or 3 weeks. Once I started getting better at cloning and getting all that stuff down. And, I put in like 3 or 4 plants at a time. And then they grow and flower, and you get to that point, and then you cut them and cure them.
I remember doing like the cloning.
Yeah.
Like definitely, like my buddy would get the seeds.
Yeah.
And then, you don't want to be ordering seeds, do it as least as possible at that time. So we'd clone them out. So we had, I think, 7 or 8 clones. We'd clone, like we'd do a batch of cups, this plant, as many as we could, and then next plant, and then just you wait a little while and it recycles after a couple months.
Yeah.
But I just remember when, like I said, I was green at this process, so I was, I was being invited in. So this was, I had a small investment, but not as much as what my buddy had.
Yeah.
And I could remember he had to go somewhere for work leave for a month or so, and he says you got to take care of all these. And I'm like, how? I don't want to, because I'm sitting there worried I'm gonna, fuck it up and just he's gonna come back and try to shoot me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a very very, very strenuous time.
Trial by fire.
Yeah. And I think I did end up killing one. Most of them survived, but I remember I did kill one on accident. I think I drowned it. Bit of too much water, but and it's funny to look back at those times and how much I would overthink sitting at a stop sign. So like that process, I was just so worried and anxious I was going to ruin something. You know what I mean? And it's a weed, dude.
Yeah.
Give it some food, give it some wine, let it go. But the cloning process definitely, I think we topped out that year with, I think we put out 750 some plants that year.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember there was a huge bus south of here.
Oh, wow.
And they had the house with the generators.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember this?
No, but that's how.
Well, yeah, we'd have been. Yeah, I remember this. Okay, so I think that guy got caught with like 700 and some, and I can remember discussing this with my buddy. I think we put out just a few extra just to top him, just in case. But then we ended up losing probably 300 of them they got hit with spray
Oh, yeah.
from the fields.
Yeah.
So that was not that wasn't a good. I mean, if we'd have had too much.
Yeah.
Like you can't hide. We're gonna hide. We wound up at 26, 25, 20, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you'd have had 50, 60, 70 pounds, we could hide that shit. You'd smell you a mile away, man.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely created some really good memories. It definitely was an amazing experience, and it was rough. Don't get me wrong. There's because as soon as you get everything out there, well, you got like a month or two off, and then you got to go get everything back. And that I don't know which it was easier in one aspect, but carrying all that shit down a country road, walking miles because you
been there, done that. Yeah.
And, right now because of my situation with my job and everything. I would definitely be passing on it, but I would love to go do it again like that sometime.
Yeah.
There was just a little rush to it, So it was.
We used to kind of be relegated to closets back in the day.
Remember that?
And now they have these little tents. Have you seen those? The little grow tents.
Yeah.
And, And then they're ventilated and everything, and they're all reflective on the inside, and it's just like the industry, for home growing, man. It's
huge.
Pardon the pun, but it's blossomed
big
time. Blossomed hugely.
It's flowering.
Yeah, so.
I saw a buddy of mine once take I think it was an old dryer, hollowed it out, put reflective, the reflective paper, like the oil or whatever, the reflective paper in there, put a light in there, and he hooked it up to the top of the lid, so you just put the light on and shut the lid.
Yeah.
And again, this was like this guy had zero experience in this area. Just the base, like he knew how to grow something, you know what I mean? But it wasn't something he did, wasn't something, so he just tried it out of the blue. We were talking about it.
Right.
And I can remember going over there one night, and he did know about the light cycles. So it was the 12 hours I did started with 12 on, 12 off.
Right.
Okay. But what he was doing was opening that lid all the time and looking at it, and so he's shocking the shit out of it.
Yeah, when they're in their dark mode, they got to stay dark.
Yep.
That's the worst thing you can do is go in there on your dark mode.
But I mean, outside the fact that it was a beautiful looking plant. I mean, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it was hermied, so he didn't,
Oh.
So he kept. Why isn't it getting any bigger? Well, you can't open that all the time. Well, it shouldn't affect. Yeah, it's a tough plant, but it's got to have.
During dark times, that's the worst thing you can do, dude.
Do you like getting kicked around when you're awake? In the middle of the night, and someone comes waking you up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're doing to that plant in the dark, then.
Yeah.
So, and I mean,
you look at it all day long when the light's on. But,
exactly. But and that was like that happened, and he was just done with it because he wasn't trying to do it for any other reason I think than just to try it.
Yeah.
So, but he had. I mean, I love the idea of having the dryer. You know what I mean?
That's a great idea.
Right in the middle of your house.
Yeah.
Or I think he tried using a refrigerator too. An old refrigerator.
The biggest thing I always dealt with was the smell.
Oh yeah.
And I went to great lengths to, I encased my whole room in black visqueen and tried to seal it up as best as possible.
Didn't work good.
And then I got, they used to make these industrial sized cans of Ozium with a dispenser that was timed.
Yep.
Just like in a restroom or something. I had one of those. I had this goo shit that was supposed to take smell out of the airs. I had a negative ion generator.
Wow.
And still
permeates. Yeah.
Just the smell was just
that's kind of the beautiful thing about, I love the smell.
Yeah.
There was nothing better than going out in the middle of the night where, because you can't, you're doing this in the dark, you know. So you're getting closer when you get a whiff of it in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was fun, but
it
was scary when you're going because you've got the whole process of cleaning it and cutting it and drying. Yeah. And you get to your buddy's house and you're like, damn, I still got 3 blocks to go. Yeah. Yeah,
going back to what you said about the earlier, it's just like the buzz, of doing something illegal.
Yeah.
That rush.
Yeah.
I remember. I grew indoors for probably close to 4 years. And one of the reasons I finished up was because of the paranoia.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can imagine.
You know, there was a point where I was just sitting on my couch with my 380 beside me.
Jeez.
For no other reason than it just made me feel good.
Right.
You know, not that I was expecting trouble, not that I dealt to, you know, a ton of people. I I grew for myself and maybe about 2 or 3 friends.
Right.
I would, you know, hey, if you want some, I got some.
Yeah.
But my worst fear was hearing a helicopter in the air.
Oh yeah.
Because back at that time, you know, they had the technology of the
Military.
thermal.
Oh yeah.
You know, they could see the thermal, and you know, with a freaking hot light blowing,
It's gonna go shine right through.
You can see that from a mile away.
That's
But
what
you know, I lived in a, you know, I lived in Nashville, so I mean, there was a lot of houses around.
Right.
And another huge worry of mine was, what happens if somebody robs a bank and they're on the run and the cops are going house to house searching for this person?
Right.
These are the what ifs, that web of what ifs, you know, that you're
Exactly.
kind of trapped in sometimes when you're doing this.
It's not even. I mean,
You know,
what if they're looking for someone and the cops just show up and say, "Hey, we're just want to let you know, keep an eye out for
yeah.
this dog,
And
this kid."
They get this whiff, and then you're on their radar.
Yep.
Or they say, hey, you know, or come back with a search warrant. And,
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, and it's, you know, that's one reason I never I didn't like the indoor. I like because the indoor you're automatically guilty.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not that you're not guilty with it outside. I just there's more. You know what I mean? Ways to get out of it, so to speak. I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm not. You know, I might be really reaching on that one, but you know, I mean, and on the downside, I mean, if you got a hydroponic set, I don't know how they would do this. You know, I know like if you got caught growing it, they'd dig the plant up and you're getting charged. You know, your stock that actually only weighs 1.5 pounds now weighs 3 pounds with this big clump of dirt and all these roots on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if you're growing inside. I mean, maybe that's one benefit. You know?
Yeah.
They charge you for
I think
that.
either way, you're going to get gigged pretty hard.
Yeah.
You know. In the inside game, as opposed to the outside game, in my opinion, is more labor intensive.
The inside?
It's like if you're doing a full hydro system and you have all these hoses going to these drippers on these blocks of rock wool, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've had one, you know, shift or get plugged up.
Oh yeah, I'm
Because
sure.
those little emitters, you know, because, you know, you're running, you know, fertilizer through there, and that's particulate stuff, and they get little salt buildups on them and stuff, and
You're gonna clog.
they'll clog, or, you know, I've had a hose come off with like the main pump,
Jeez.
you know, just random stuff like that.
You know, and inside
And
you
it's
know,
just common. So you've got to be there constantly, really.
babysitting it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, back in my day, you pretty much had to be a hermit. You know, you really couldn't have a party or anything like that.
Right.
Not that I'm a big, you know,
Right.
let's have a party guy. But you just had to live a certain lifestyle if you were going to do that.
You're committed to it.
Yeah.
You have to be because
Yeah.
I mean that's the last thing you want to do is go through all this work and have something small trip you up.
Yeah.
You know, like
Because, I mean, at any time, I would have plants in the clone stage, the vegetative stage, the just put into flowering stage, the halfway flowering stage, and the I'm almost done stage, and then the curing stage. You know, and then you've got to keep a mother plant going too, or at least have one that you know you're pulling off of. And it was just like, you know, I loved it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And I'd probably do things better,
right.
you know.
A little
But
more knowledge over the years.
yeah, you know, and the technology has gotten better. But
You know, as much as I would love to do it again,
you've got to be committed to it.
you have to be.
Yeah.
And there's just something about like I can drive an hour north and get what I want.
Exactly.
And maybe it's a little more pricey than whatever.
Yeah.
I can get it right now. So I could do something that's going to take me, like it's labor intensive, and you usually run like what, say we do like May to maybe September, October, November, and the work. I think October is usually when we'd harvest. But I can be back at my house of exactly what I want in 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, going back to your comment about weed snobs, you know, people look at a bud and then they'll just constantly bust it down and criticize it. And so say I see this on comments like on these dispensaries I've gone to, and every dispensary I've gone to in Michigan, I've had a positive experience, just
Right.
100% outstanding. And then you read these comments and these people are whining and complaining about this and that, and it's like, do you even understand what that company has gone through
Exactly.
to produce that product for you and have that building there and go through all the licensing and all the headache and all the testing that they have to
the
do
fees on that alone.
to put that product on the shelf so you can sit there and bitch about it?
Welcome to America. You have that right to do
Yeah.
that. But that's the thing about it. Without trying to get too crazy political here, there's always going to be a critic of something. There's always going to be
You're right about that.
some idiot in his mom's basement tapping away, keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
So why not look at the positive instead of the negative?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's not for you, fine. Then quit talking about it and move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't like you. I'm not ragging on you. Get out of here. Done. So, hey.
Yeah. It's hard to believe sometimes.
That's the thing, too. Like, we found out, because when we were doing this, it was right before this big boom that's hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone was indoors. And the quality, I mean, obviously, when you go inside, you get a better looking product.
Right.
But you can't shrub them out as much inside.
Yeah.
That's what I liked. Just giving it to nature and telling her to do your thing. You know what I mean? And these plants are I'm over 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
But and I think in the end, the high is going to kind of be the same. I don't think one's going to be. It's going to be dependent on your strain.
Yeah.
But people they'd look. Well, this has got a darker color. What was outside weed? Oh, I'm not. I can't. No, I only do indoor weed.
Wow.
Yeah.
They need to have,
You sit down to
they need
pee,
to have a couple ounces of some brickweed, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's go back to like 1988 or 1991.
Let's go to a museum and get you a little brickweed, and you can sift through the seeds and stems. And you remember how hard that shit was to break up?
Yeah, you'd get a quarter.
Would be about the size of a dollar coin.
Yeah,
a little bit thicker.
But then you break it down, and it's just like poof, it just never stops breaking. You know what I mean?
And back then we didn't have grinders.
No, we didn't.
We didn't know what a grinder was.
Our fingers were grinders.
Yeah, exactly.
And you never had like the actual, like nowadays it's nice. You have like the bud. You break the bud. Like, I don't know what we were breaking up. Like leaves, just everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it always tasted like perfume. Or whatever they brought it in.
Right.
Like, I can remember a lot of perfumy taste. And
I do too. Yeah.
It was just like, and ironically, I guess now when we compress weed, it's for wax and stuff.
Did you ever? There was a brief time early on when I was young. There was some opium around. Did you ever try opium?
Yeah, we did that.
It was kind of like a hash type consistency.
I remember lacing a lot. Like we'd take
it had a very unique taste to it.
Soapy kind of, if I remember.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Kind of perfumey, soapy.
Yep. I remember having one. Had to been right after high school. But we took some opium and just smeared it on the side of the joint.
Oh, okay.
And then we just smoked it. And I remember having a soapy taste. It must have been good because I can't remember the high, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it was, I remember we'd take a lot of hash too. Mm-hmm. Cook it with they take the 151 rum and douse the plants and light them up. And it's kind of like it's more or less what wax is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the early version stuff that, God, it smokes that. God,
I was able to smoke opium under glass a few times. Have you ever done that?
Oh.
You take a pen and put it up through a piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a sewing pen or something. And then you take a little chunk of opium and put on the top of the pen.
Yeah.
And you hold a big glass over the top of it. And then you light it and get it kind of burning. And then, blow it out and then put the glass over it. And all that smoke goes up into this glass.
Right.
And then you tip that glass up and take a big gulp.
I remember doing something like that.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was with opium or hashish.
Yeah, you do the same thing with hash, yeah.
Probably did it with both, knowing me. I can remember doing that after, Wow, I forgot about that memory. Thanks, Fongo. I owe you one. God.
Well, dude, we're about, God, looks like 50 minutes in right now.
Excellent.
Got one more question for you.
All right.
And then we'll just kind of do a kind of little wrap-up thing. Where do you see the future of cannabis in 5 years?
Legal everywhere but Indiana.
Take that back.
Yeah, I'll take that back. I think in the next 5 years, I think it's going to be on the same social levels like having a beer. I don't think it's going to be a big deal anymore. Like, there's already companies that aren't testing for marijuana users, which is a great sign.
Yeah.
You know, I see it really becoming like just a part of our society, just like alcohol is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it being that I've dealt with addiction for, you know, a lot of my adult life, it blows my mind that you have alcohol's legal. But, I mean, and like I said, it is a little mentally addictive. But I didn't throw up. I didn't freak out. I wasn't going through the shakes when I didn't have a joint trying to crawl out of my skin.
Yeah.
So I expect to see it being used more to treat stuff such as anxiety, PTSD. It's going to be more, I like to see it more on the medical side, to be honest with you. I mean, I enjoy the recreational side, but it was nice as an adult to finally see these medicinal purposes that were legit, what people have been saying, you know. I think I would just like to see it be socially acceptable on all ends. I'd like to see companies not test for it, decriminalize it. Expungements would be great, you know, getting these people, I mean, something like that shouldn't ruin someone's life.
Right.
Getting caught with some weed.
Although it has time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that, you know, there's the oppression right there that everyone's crying about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd like to see it just become and you don't need to glorify it. You know what I mean? It just, and I would like to say this, I hope the big company keeps its hands out of it, but I don't think that's going to happen, so.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be a lot of opportunities. There already has been. And I think the states that have legalized it have realized a nice little uptick in revenue from the income or the taxes involved in it. And some states are getting a little greedy. You know, if you look at Illinois compared to Michigan, Illinois is like 33-something%. Michigan is still like 16%. What makes your weed that much more easy to tax?
Right. What's so special?
Or why do you feel your citizens need to be taxed more for the same product that they're selling in Michigan or a lot of other states?
Right.
You know, and I get it. You know, politicians want to get as much as they can.
I mean,
but you know, there's got to be a kind of a, hey, come on, let's be reasonable.
And I think that's
kind of aspect here.
That's going to be. I'll play a huge factor. And once it kind of everything, all 50 states are legal, and it's on that level of socially acceptable. I'm sorry. But I think that's when you start seeing people like if you're looking at the dispensaries. Even though I'm not smoking, I still look at dispensary websites quite a bit, and prices are starting to come down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like at first, and it was funny because I can remember going to the dispensary. Like, well, I can get you that for $20 cheaper. Great, go get it, and I'll meet you back here. We'll see who gets you first. Right. And I'd win every time. You know what I mean? Like, it's called cost of convenience. Yeah. But just like with every new product that comes out, it's going to be more expensive, and as time goes on, no pun intended, the high wears off. Yeah. And it kind of settles down, and I think you're going to start seeing a lot of that. Obviously, you know, Illinois is, I don't know, charging an extra when they have the world's shittiest sport teams. I don't know.
And that's coming from a Chicago Bears fan.
Yeah, but Jesus, I mean, fingers crossed. We got an Ohio State quarterback that's never worked out before, but maybe, hopefully, that higher tax bracket will pay off. I don't know. That's kind of the nice thing about you can charge what you want to charge in this country. You know what I mean?
And if you get it, you get it. Yeah. If not, you're going to have to refigure.
If someone wants to spend $300 on a whole pair of my socks, far be it for me to tell them what to do. Here's my socks. Give me the money. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, the one thing I disagree with is the deceitfulness that I'm worried about seeing in this industry. You know, like coming into it when the dispensaries first opened in Michigan, you kind of, I mean, you could trust them. It seems the longer it's going to go on, though, there's going to be some snakes in the grass that are going to we could do this, and reword it this way. And that's why I really would like big companies to just stay the hell out of it and just leave it to the small guys. Let them have a break. You know, I mean, because you get it on that big corporate level, and they're gonna ruin it. Hands. I mean, it'll just. Like I said, when I grew, I knew to watch it from start to process. That was like the best feeling, and I know it doesn't have any BS in it.
Mm-hmm.
And big companies will do that.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen.
Well, all right, brother. I think that's going to wrap us up for this show.
So roll it up.
I just want to thank you again for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
And doing this. And is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up for today?
Takes a big dog to weigh a ton.
I agree. This is Johnny Fongo with my good friend Matt Stic Girres. Wishing you a profitable day. Enjoy your cannabis. Enjoy your life. We'll see you next time around.